much, Honorable Chairperson. The first query, Chairperson, the queries from Kushi relates to paragraph 70, as well as appendices 1, 2, and 8 of the Auditor General's report. So the first query, specific query that we have, is on the failure to implement funded projects. Chair, the cause of the query, management chair wishes to acknowledge.
You are on page what?
The cause of the query, chair, is on page 3.
Okay.
On management response.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. So the cause of the query, Chair, is that management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wishes to report that the reason, Chair, for the query is that the grant funds given to grant beneficiaries were adjusted downwards from the applied amounts by the Constituency Development Committee in order to benefit a wider community. Action taken, Chair, is that management wishes to report to this committee that it wrote to 3 clubs who are beneficiary groups to speed up the implementation of the projects as well as apply for extra funding. Further, the other 4 groups which are yet to implement the projects were advised to revert back to the projects that they applied for by the end of the first quarter of 2024, failure to which we advise them that they have to pay back the funds. So, Chair, there is an appendix 1 which is attached to this report, which is marked, which shows the letters that were written to the various groups. There were 2 categories of groups. The 3, they were implementing the same project except they were slow in terms of their implementation. Then we had 4 that did not implement the actual project, citing the monies as not being adequate. Chair, further on the action taken, management wishes to report that it made recommendations to the CDF committee to consider allocating according to the amounts applied for, as long as it does not exceed the ceiling of 40,000. So that also, Chairperson, is evidenced by the second appendix that is attached to this report, which is on appendix number 2, which shows the recommendation that management made to the CDF committee. Again, Chair, management wishes to, management has ensured that the subsequent grant funding have been adjusted upwards. Again, it is evidenced by the subsequent beneficiary groups that were funded as appended on appendix number 3. Management further wishes to report that it has enhanced monitoring of grant beneficiaries as evidenced by the monitoring report, Chair, that is attached on appendix 4. Management further, Chair, wishes to report that it conducted financial literacy training to grant beneficiaries, even if it's not provided for in the CDF guidelines. But we hear from the lessons that we learned, we realized that we needed to build capacity in terms of ensuring that they don't depart from the objectives. So we did the literacy training, and the report, Chair, is attached on appendix number 5. Management further wishes to report, Chair, that we've continued to sensitize the members of the public on CDF programs using our CDF radio program on our local radio station and other media platform, as evidenced on the report to the Ministry of Local Government that is attached as appendix 6. So from that, Chair, we've also seen an upward swing in terms of the applications from the 2022-2023 up to 2024. In terms of remedial measures, Chair, management wishes to state that it will continue to sensitize the members of the public on the CDF projects and the programs. Chair, the second query relates to cross-cutting matters, and it is on Appendix 1 in the Auditor's General's report on the budget performance, which shows it a total amount of 22,945,453 kwacha. So the query is on the budget performance, which shows that that money was still in our account. Our response, Honorable Chairperson, is that the cause of the query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wishes, Chair, to report that the budget performance showing unspent funds totaling to 22,945,000 kwacha, 453 kwacha was as a result of the delayed rollout of CDF guidelines, that is for 2022, the Ward Development Committees, which were formed and oriented, which were oriented in the same year, 2022, the capacity building, the late approval of the projects, the length procurement processes, as well as the rest guidance that we received on the financial institutions, that is relating to the disbursement of funds, that is on the loans which we received through the Treasury and Financial Management Circular number 15 of 2022, which was released in October 2022, as well as the late release of application forms, which meant that we had to do things towards the end of so the actual spending was done in the subsequent year, which was 2023. Chair, the 22,000 has been broken down in terms of the components that are being shown there. So the first one, Chair, is the variance of 2,000 kwacha, 2 million kwacha, sorry. Management wishes to report that the variance of 2 million kwacha was as a result of the money that was retained at source, which was used to purchase the CDF monitoring vehicle as well as the police vehicle. Action taken, management wishes to report that the two vehicles, namely the police and the CDF monitoring vehicle, were procured and have since been delivered to the constituency. Then again on the same table, Chairperson, there is a 14 million which shows interest, 14,114 kwacha. I beg your pardon, Chair. Management wishes to report to the committee that the amount indicated was interest and on the CDF revolving account, which is retained in the revolving account as a CDF guidelines of 2022, which is Part 4, Part 3, Part 2D. Action taken. Chair, management wishes to report to this House that the interest end has been retained in the CDF loan revolving account and has since been declared to the committee for allocation. See the CDF loan revolving account bank statement, which is appended as appendix number 7. Chair, we also have a balance brought forward from the same table involving 1.9 million, 1,957 kwacha, 962.57 ingwe. Management, Chair, wishes to report that the balance brought forward of 1.9 was a carryover of the previous fundings, and however, as at 31st December 2022, management had spent a total of 1.2 million, leaving a balance of 736 kwacha, 145. Action taken. Management, Chair, wishes to report that it has since spent 260 as of 31st January 2024, leaving a balance of 476 as committed funds and savings that were made from the previous projects and the retentions to the various projects that were completed, but they were under defect liability period. In terms of community projects, Chair, we had 11,938 kwacha, 163 kwacha. Management wishes to report that the budget performance on community projects was a result of the late conditional approval of projects as well as the length procurement processes, resulting in management failing to spend. The condition approval, Chair, that we received was that we needed to set aside funds for the vehicles because it was not put there. So we had to again sit down so that we can take care of, defer some projects, we take care of the vehicles. So management wishes to report that projects are at different stages. So far, management has spent a total of 5,795,336 kwacha, 86 ingwe, as tabulated below. So the table, Chair, indicates the expenses as well as the money that is remaining, which is committed funds for ongoing 2022 projects as well as retentions for projects that are under defect liability period. Then we also had funds under bursaries, which is 4,310,000. Management, Chair, wishes to report that it had paid bursaries to all the verified number of pupils and students as per approval by the CDF committee. So we spent, then this is the money that remained after paying all those that were approved by the CDF committee. With the balance, Chair, from 2022, which was used in 2023 to pay for the 2023 students, we had to go back to the CDF committee to seek approval that we use the 2022 balances, which we paid for the 2023 students. So even as we are talking, the money had already been spent. So see the expenditure summary below, as well as the authority to spend the 2022 funds.
Yes, you just continue reading, without explaining.
Sure, sir.
Continue reading. Those ones to explain.
Spend as which is attached on Appendix 8. Then on soft loans, management wishes to report that the reason for the query was as a result of the late guidance on the appointment of the financial institutions to handle the loan component, whose guidance via Treasury and Financial Management Circular number 15 of 2022 dated 27th October, as well as the late release of the application forms, resulting in management failing to spend during the financial year. Action taken, management, Chair, wishes to report that it paid a total of 2,805,256,060 kwacha loan funds to the beneficiaries with a balance of 129, which was carried over to 2023 loans as seen from the table below, as well as the attached instructions that were given to their bank on Appendix 9. Management, Chair, further wishes to report that the 2023 loan application processes were concluded and dispersed within the same year, which is 2023, as can be seen from the attached bank instructions letters appended on Appendix 10. Management, Chair, continues to sensitize members of the public on CDF programs. Then on the grants, management wishes to report that the reason for the query was due to the delay in meeting the bank requirements by grant beneficiary groups. Action taken, management wishes to report that all the approval beneficiaries groups have since been paid. Remedial measures, management to ensure that beneficiary groups submit all the required documents on time so that disbursements are also made on time. Disaster, we had 773,583 kwacha. The cause of the query, Chair, is management wishes to report that the failure to spend on disaster component was that these disasters were identified in the rainy season of 2022-2023 and were implemented in 2023. Action taken, management wishes to report that it has implemented the disaster projects Then also the administration, there was 786,000 from the same 22 million. 132 kwacha, 55 ingwe. Management wishes to report that the unspent funds was a balance from the administrative component whose expenditure chair is ongoing. Then the other one on Appendix 2, the other query is on Appendix 2 in the Auditor General's report is failure to spend 8 million, which is presented in the table. The cause of the query, management chair wishes to acknowledge the auditor's findings and wishes to report that the variance of 8,279,757 kwacha was a result of the delayed rollout of guidelines, the World Development Committee orientations, capacity building, late condition approval of projects, length procurement processes, and the late rolling out of standard drawings resulting in under costings. Further, management wishes to report that following the pronouncements by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, that no child should sit on the floor, 14 projects amounting to 5 million were deferred into 2024 in order to accommodate for the procurement of desks. So the variation authority chair is attached as Appendix 11. Action taken. Chair management wishes to report that some projects were adjusted upwards to conform to the standards, to the standard drawings and at different stages, whilst others have been handed over to the community. The project status report chair is attached as Appendix 12. Management further wishes to report that a total of 2,136,931 kwacha 86 ingwe has since been spent after audit verification, with a balance of 6,142,825.14 being committed funds, chair, of which most of the monies relates to the procurement of desks and projects which are at different stages. Remedial measure. Management wishes to report that it will ensure that it begins the procurement cycle early so as to ensure that projects are implemented and completed on time. The other query, chair, relates to Appendix 8 in the Auditor General's report, which is failure to disperse soft loans of 1.4, 91,233 kwacha. Cause of the query, chair management acknowledges the auditor's findings, however wishes to report that the stated amount in the schedule relates to grants and not the soft loans as reported. The reason for the query was due to the delay in meeting bank requirements by the beneficiary groups. Action taken. Management wishes to report that all the approved beneficiary groups have since been paid. The bank instructions letter is attached on Appendix 13. Remedial measure. Management will ensure that beneficiary groups submit all the requirement documents on time so that the disbursements are made on time. Chair, in conclusion, I wish to assure the committee that the remedial measures that have been submitted to the committee will be implemented and reviewed for further improvement. I wish to submit, Chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Chair, once again, and thanks CS for that wonderful presentation. Chair, my question is on page 1. Chair, it is starting from page 1. It will go to page 3 or 4. Chair, basically is youth, women, community empowerment, grants, empowerment, failure to fund projects. Chair, there are a number of projects from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 7 projects, Chair, were funded amounts of 10,000 kwacha each against what they applied for. I'll give an example of 1 or 2. Number 1, Mapinda Mount Pepos Cooperative. They applied to do fish farming and their application was 116,000 kwacha, 526. They were only given 10,000 kwacha. And you note that 10,000 kwacha, instead of doing fish farming, Chair, they went into poultry. And again, another example is Umozo Women's Club. They applied to venture into peanut butter making business. Instead of the council CDF committee giving them 50,000 kwacha, they were only given 10,000 kwacha. Chair, is everywhere, all the 7, they were given 10,000 kwacha across without regard to what they applied for. Without going into details one by one, Chair, the question is on page 3. The page 3, on the action taken, management wishes to report that it wrote to the 3 clubs. They have mentioned the 3, but have noted 7. 3 clubs, beneficiary groups, to speed up the implementation of the projects as well as applying for extra funds. Chair, in the presentation of the council secretary indicated that this was the first installment, and there was a CDF committee resolution that they should be given the balance to match to what they applied for. Now, further, the other 4 groups which are yet to implement the projects would revert to the projects applied for by the end of the quarter of 2024, failure to which they must pay back the money as attached. Chair, the question is, how do you expect these clubs, respective clubs, to undertake a business which they had well thought out and costed the amounts which they applied for, and you just give them 10,000 kwacha? And when they delay, to implement, you tell them that you reprimand them. Further, you have attached minutes under Appendix 2. These minutes that you have attached, they were only approved on 15th June 2023. And in the minutes, it is written that it was resolved that each club would be funded 32,000. Why 32? Some of them applied for 116. Those are the initial questions, Chair.
Council Secretary.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. In our submission, Chairperson, we've mentioned the 4 clubs that were queried. They ventured into in different business activities. So the first ones that we've mentioned, the 3 of them, Chairpersons, did not depart from their initial application, though in terms of their implementation, they were slow. For instance, like the ones that applied for, the ones that ventured into beekeeping, they are still doing the same beekeeping, except they were moving at a very slow pace. Of course, the reason for them not to move at a fast rate, the reasons that they advance is the fact that the funding was not adequate. So there were two categories. Then we have the four. The four did not do the actual projects that they applied for. For instance, one of the groups applied for funding so that they can do goat rearing, but they realized that the monies were not adequate, so they gave themselves more or less like a revolving fund, and so that they raise the capital. So in terms of our interventions, the interventions to these groups were in two folds, because when we went on the ground, we realized that the others, of course, they were doing the actual projects. They were doing the actual projects, except they were slow. Then the other ones had departed from the same project. So they read what we wrote to them, the instructions that we gave them, or the engagement that we had with them, the instructions that were given were different. That is on the first one. Then the second one, the second question relates to the minutes on in our submission, Chair, we mentioned that we made recommendations to the CDF committee. So if you look at the attachment that we've made, that is minute number, item number CDC. If you go to the minutes, CDC 410323, when you read the recommendations there, we made recommendations as management to the CDF committee, so that the subsequent clubs that comes are funded adequately. They are funded according to the applications that they've made, provided they don't, it doesn't go beyond the ceiling. For those that will go beyond the ceiling, they were being advised to apply through the loans, because the loans, the ceiling was 200 kwacha. I wish to submit, Chairperson.
Follow-up, Honorable Nyambose.
Chair, following the Council Secretary very well, he says the four clubs were the ones who had departed from the initial project. You ask for me that you want to buy a phone, and you have gone to the market, you have found that this phone is 20,000 kwacha. You apply of the 20,000 kwacha for the 20,000, then I give you 2,000 kwacha. Who has caused the departure from you? Are you going to buy the same phone if I give you 2,000 kwacha instead of 20,000 kwacha? Then who has caused the departure? Is it not you and your technical team for failing to adhere to their application? You caused this problem. Then you want to portray a picture that these people had departed from the initial program. Even these who have ventured into beekeeping, they wanted to do 10 hives. They couldn't within the same amount. So how do you expect them to make the turnovers and repay the loans or grow their money if it is a grant? Are you agreeing that you, as the CDF committee and the technocrats on the CDF committee, are the ones who are ready for these clubs to depart from their initial programs? All of them, 10,000 kwacha, someone wants a business for 16,000 kwacha, which you saw, DPO and the team, you saw that this is the business plan. It is for 116,000 kwacha, you give them 10,000 kwacha. Is that rational?
Yes.
Thank you, Chairperson. For sure, it is regrettable, Chairperson, that communities apply for bigger amounts, then they are given lower amounts. Of course, it affects the implementation, and no wonder we made mention, Chairperson, that we had to make recommendations that the subsequent CDF allocations are increased, and even the ones that have been following, actually, there has not been any club where we've downgraded. All of them have been given according to the amounts that they applied for. Thank you, Chair.
CS, would you agree that your technocrats did not assist the committees or the committee? When I'm talking about the committee, I'm excluding them because they are supposed to, I'm excluding your officers because they're supposed to give technical advice. You know the composition of the members there. You have members from representing the Royal Highnesses, religious leaders. So do you agree that they did not do as expected of them? Because surely 116 applied for, then you give, you agree, your officers were there nodding to an amount of 10,000. Would you agree that they didn't do a good job?
Chairperson, I would agree that I think we didn't do a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Mwene.
Thank you so much, Chair. Seriously, I would like to lead you to page 5 of your report on cross-cutting matters. Chair, if there is a place from this report that I have seen people suffering as a result of the council failing to implement projects on time, it's Mukushi. Chair, look, going through the entire report, the outcome of everything is failure to spend unspent funds, spending beyond the expected time. I have seen in this report, Chair, regrettably, monies for 2022, 2021 being spent in 2024. Chair, this does not go along with the purpose of CDF as the presidential directive that CDF has come to the people, so that it changes the lives of our communities. Going on this pattern, Chair, it's very regrettable that the people of Mukushi have been denied the opportunities that they are supposed to have. Serious. Maybe my first question is, when were you audited?
Chair, we were audited in June 2023.
In June 2023. And when did you receive the CDF guidelines?
The CDF guidelines came in February 2022, yes.
February 2022. Chair, it's surprising that by that time around, before Mukush Town Council was audited, they still had a whopping unspent funds of about 22.9 million. Chair, I just would like maybe to again guide the CS to page 6 for questions. Let's go. Let me just take an illustration, because all these questions are mainly on unspent funds and failure to spend. Maybe a general question is, why did you have to keep money in the account, denying the good people of Mukushi of development, reaching even a level of spending the money this year? If you look at the action taken on on the balance brought forward of 1.9 million there, you have stipulated that actually management wishes to report that it has since spent 260,691 kwacha on 31st January 2024. Chair, these are funds for 2021 actually. Why are you delaying generally to implement projects in Mukushi? I submit, Chair.
CS?
Thank you so much, Chairperson. One of the biggest reasons why we couldn't implement the projects as indicated in our submission, Chairperson, are the issues of the length procurement processes as well as the late release of the standard drawings. What actually transpired is that we had a number of projects that were approved by the CDF committee. Then along the way, the ministry also gave us the standard drawings. So we had to go back to the CDF committee so that we make the upward adjustments so that those buildings conform to the standards. And again, as we went further, we realized that again we still had those that were undercosted, and those are the projects that were actually varied so that we are able to procure desks. I wish to submit, Chair.
CS, you are saying that you delayed due to late receipt of instructions. Are you aware that you are not the only local authority in this country? What would be your comment to those local authorities who spent their money on time? Why did it take you that long when you are not the only local authority in this country? Food for thought. Honorable Nyambose.
Chair, I think it was the same question on the very one.
Okay.
We come from councils, and you have said very well that the guidelines were done in February 2022. Why did it take you so long to implement? Chair, if I may augment or consolidate it on the same page 7, if you may allow me.
Yes.
Chair, as observed by Honorable Mwene, outstanding projects to the tune of 11,938,168. This money was also sitting in the accounts. Now my questions, follow-up questions to the same chair, if you may allow me. On just community projects, 11,938,000. How many projects were being implemented? Because on this report, are we on the same page? 7? I want us to go there. You have said management wishes to report that the budget performance on community projects was as a result of the late conditional approval of the projects, as well as the lengthy procurement processes resulting in management failing to spend during the financial year. Which lengthy procurement processes, which are only in Mkushi, not in Ichasef, not in Mangango, not even in Musaka? Then you have said action taken report, Chair. Management wishes to report that that projects are at different stages. So far, management has spent a total of 5,000. Now, you have spent 5,790 after audit. Now, I want you, Council Secretary, with your team, take us through as a committee which ones, out of all those projects, I don't know how many, you implemented, at which you said different stages, which are completed, which were completed as at the time of audit, which were work in progress at the time of audit, evidence through your Director of Works of completion certificates, if there are any attached here, then any pictorial evidence of various projects that this one was completed, this is work in progress. I've perused through your Appendix 8. Is it Appendix 8? I can't see any certificates. Those are the questions to follow up on what Honorable Mwene has said, because it was coming same page and speaking to the same failure to spend on projects. I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nyambose. CS, you and I, or you and the committee would agree that the 2022 budget was approved in December 2021. By 15th of February 2022, You had received the guidelines. So when you say late release of guidelines, surely, does it hold water? Does that argument hold water? 15th of February, if I'm not mistaken, the guidelines were released to all the local authorities. You may respond, CS, to those concerns from Honorable Nyambos.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. We apologize, Chairperson, that we did not attach the completion certificates, which we have separately, on which we can, if the Chairperson, the committee agrees, which we are able to submit on the completed projects. Of course, the attached appendix, the report, indicates the projects, the levels at which all of them are. They're at different stages, including the ones where we've done the completion certificates, and they've already been handed over to the communities.
CS, while I would agree with you, it's difficult to believe, because, you know, you can easily get a picture of any building and say, this is it. What will convince this committee actually is a document. It's a document, completion document. I can tell you that in the past we have had local authorities indicating one borehole at point B and point C, telling the committee that these boreholes were done. But you know, members of parliament, you know, go through these documents that you submit before us, on to realize that it was like they were shifting the people. He was just asked, but these are the same people on this borehole at X, the same people at this borehole at Y. So this is why we want proper evidence. So for us to admit such submission, it must be backed by relevant documents. Maybe another question on page, is it the same question?
Yes,
Oh, okay,
Thank
follow-up
you,
question?
Thank you, sir. Yes, Chair. CS, did you hear the directive that before the end of 2023, no child must sit on the floor? From the President. You heard that?
Yes, Chair, we heard.
Why did you take too long to make the variations to procure desks, which is against the presidential guidelines or presidential directive?
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Chair, at the time that the pronouncement was made, like I submitted earlier on, Mukushi had already allocated funds to the CDF to the various projects. So we had to go back and engage. The feeling of the committee initially was that we should be able to meet the deficit in the year 2023 and 2024, because the deficit was just too much. But we had to go back, and the committee was considerate enough that they had to agree that we vary funds an amount of about 6 million, if I'm not mistaken, about 6 million, that we vary to ensure that we procure the desks. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, just on desks, I have seen you started your variation. When did you start your variation process for desks?
Yes.
If I can remember, it's in June, Chair, according to the attachments you have put at your appendix. And why, Chair, I'm wondering why Mkushi, CS, you are failing to adhere to the presidential guidelines. Are you confirming to this committee that Mkushi has got a surplus of desks that you could not follow the presidential guidelines on time?
Yes.
Chairperson, we don't have a surplus. What we have, Chair, is a deficit. And as indicated in our report, Chair, that after the presidential directive, we went back to the committee so that we vary the projects in order for us to align to the presidential directive and that we move in line with the government policy of ensuring that no child sits on the floor. I wish to submit, Chair.
Chair, I appreciate. I just want to find out, CS, from 2022, especially this expenditure that you are claiming or that you are telling your committee that you now have spent this 260,000 this January 2024. Why did you have to decide to spend the money just a few days before you appear this committee from 2022? I submit, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairperson. It's regrettable, Chairperson, that somehow we lagged behind, and it is in our interest as well to ensure that we deliver on time. We ensure that the cost is okay, and the quality of the works and services that are being provided conforms to the desires of every Zambian. We did the variation around June 2023, and from June 2023 we immediately began the procurement processes, and the amount that was involved was quite huge. We had wanted that we procure, and that's when we were transitioning to the EGP. We had wanted that we procure outside the EGP. We had also wanted that probably we use simplified bidding, to which we had engaged the relevant authorities. But we were granted to procure outside the EGP, except to use the open tender processes. And the open tender processes, the process is a bit lengthy. It requires a bit of some time in terms of complying with the provisions of the law. Otherwise, Chairperson, it's regrettable, like I've said, that we seem to have been lagging behind, but it is the wish of this management that going forward, we are able to move within the specified times. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, as we are winding down, on the same issue, on page 7, you have indicated that you have paid all the bursaries, and we are talking about the issue of procurement. Are we seeing some of our youths forming companies and be able to manufacture desks in Mukoshi? Are we seeing our youths now, or maybe 2020, 2023, 2024, coming on board, applying, contributing to the economy of Mukoshi? Yes, yes?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe if you seek your indulgence, maybe I can ask my DPO to make a comment.
DPO, I want you to confirm whether we have youth groups that have been trained using CDF contributing to the economy of Mukoshi.
Thank you, Chair. We have a number of youths that have been coming forth to apply for different components of the CDF, specifically on the desks themselves. I think that a lot of local involvement of the youth groups were involved, and also council has started registration of different clubs of the from the district, or to make it easy for them to form groups and benefit from not only the CDF but the various development opportunities that are happening in the district.
Honorable Nyambusa?
Chair, before I ask my question, I want to emphasize or maybe repeat your question. There is a tendency that you give responses just to make it look good. DPO, do you confirm you have empowered some of the youths who have graduated in Mukushi, trained by this CDF, that you have deliberately given to procure desks? Or that's when you are starting to register them? Because they are listening and watching. We want them to know whether what you are saying is correct and whether you are moving with the president who wants to empower them so that they can also uplift their lives. Are you confirming DPO before I ask my question, Chair?
Yeah, we want to know, CS, if there is any law that we have devised that favors the youths, because, you know, they've been trained at the expense of a government. And I don't think it would sit well. Government trains these youths through CDF. When works come, you give other people who have not been trained by this CDF. This is why we are so concerned. We want to see what have they become of them after having assisted by government. Because if we are not assisting them, then it means we are not making them grow. Then their businesses will never grow. What's your response? Director.
Thank you, Chair. I'm speaking about desks because I think a lot of money was involved in the procurement of the desks that were under the procurement
Chair,
process.
sorry not to disturb. In the interest of time, the question was very specific. Have you? Yes or no? We don't want how much was in the desks, what were. No, that one we know. Have you done that?
Yes, Chair, I can confirm that.
May I ask my substantive question? Why we ask, your mic? Why we ask is what the chair said. We want to see these people. That's why they're called empowerment. To empower them, change their lives so that they become employers that can employ from the local people. Themselves are being trained by CDF. That is the vision of the president and the government. Chair, on project management again, they have not done very well. If you look at page 9, it was noted and highlighted by my brother, Honorable Mwene, that Mukushi is a failure to spend. Failure. Again here, failure to spend 8,279,757. Add to the 11, and maybe subtract failure. You have embarked on 50 projects for 2022. There were no projects carried over from 2021. Mukushi had 0. In 2022, you embarked on 50. You have not, I have not seen, maybe, it's only me, where you have listed these 50 projects. Chair, out of these which were embarked on, no number of projects completed 0. Number of projects maybe work in progress, those who are underway, 0. Number of outstanding projects, council secretary, 50. Toto patoto. When I was young, school, toto patoto. 50, you have done nothing, no completion, you have 50. Number one question, which are these projects, 50 of them, ambitious undertaking, 50 projects at a go in 2022? And is it true that you have not done anything, you are still at 0? As at the time of audit, Council Secretary. This is a very gloomy picture. We have looked at reports, but this one is a very gloomy report, and meaning that you are not doing anything as management. May I know who is the director of works or the planner?
Oh, sir, I'm the director of engineering.
Chair, I've seen the director of works of engineering. I just wanted to see him. How do you rate yourself with this report, director of works? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Director?
Thank you, Chair. In fact, actually on the report, there is actually the report that is indicating the status of the projects, those that are completed and those that are ongoing. And also for the completed projects, we have actually the copy of the completion certificates that were issued out.
It would be very good, Director, if you made reference to your document. Like I've indicated earlier on that, you can get a picture of any complete building, but without a certificate, we will not believe you. So when you say some of them are completed and you have, so can you refer to your document? Which are those? Because your submission is indicating 0.
So, sir, when you check actually on the status of the projects or on the appendix actually that is showing the progress, you will be able to note that there are those that are completed that are indicating 100%, and those actually have been issued the completion certificates. So we came along with the copies of the completion certificates.
Chair.
Kamondo?
Before Kamondo, if you permit me, Chair. Yes. We are an evidence-based committee. Each one of us goes with these reports. Prepared by who? Yourselves. You have prepared here, indicating at the time of audit, I'm very careful, not after. At the time of audit, you had 0, work in progress 0, projects completed 0. It's you who wrote at the time of audit. This is the period under review. You had 0. Why? Then you bring Chair, he comes with the completion certificates. He comes with them now. These were supposed to have been submitted to us. If not, just before you sat down, you should have given our secretary to say, no, this is an addendum we forgot to submit. Now you are having it yourself. So you want the public to say that this committee is unfair to ask you on something that we don't have. It's only you who has it. So I said, how do you rate yourself, Director, with this report at the time of audit?
Director, then we shall have Honorable Kamondo. I think you...
No, sorry about that, sir, actually, to never happen. I think it was just an oversight.
You know, Director, yes, we may accept your apology, but, you know, this committee is very live to the fact that you people go through a certain orientation, and we are very alive to the fact that you have followed this committee asking questions to those that have come before you. And this is, this is why Honorable Nyambosa is very concerned. Surely, if there's a committee that is coming next week on Monday, and then they don't follow what is happening here, take this committee very seriously. Actually, I'm saying this more to those who haven't come. It's no more like everything goes just like that. This committee wants to ensure that there's progress in what we are doing. If I asked you today, CS, Mukushi is a town council, isn't it?
Sure, Chair.
You were not employed to be receiving salaries. No, you were employed to deliver goods and services. What deliberate measures have you put to ensure that Mukushi is upgraded to the next level? Will you leave it at the same level that you found it? These are some of the things that we should be asking ourselves. Wouldn't you want to be called the mayor?
I would love
Yeah, town clerk.
town clerk. Yes.
Uh-huh.
I would love to, Chairperson.
You see? So, these things, you are employed to deliver goods and services. And the committee this time around is concerned, especially with the enhanced CDF. Last question from Honorable Kamondo.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I just wanted to take you to, I think page 9. Is it page 9? Yeah. No, on budget performance, actually, these are soft loans. Budget performance now, soft loans. You have indicated that at the time of audit, you were found not to have given out these loans, and let alone actually you managed to give out the loans, and then there was a balance of 129,000 after you had given out the loans. So now I wanted to find out, we have a problem actually of you not spending the money. And even after you have disbursed the money, you still have a balance of 129,000. My question is, does it mean that there were no applicants who could have actually taken this money, which you decided to move to 2023? Because in 2023, you know very well that you are still going to get another allocation. Why did you decide to keep this money, even when you have had a problem actually of not spending? Because that is the audit query. Your budget performance was not up to date. Why did you decide actually to keep this money instead of giving it out to the people that they would be beneficiaries? And secondly, the last one is just to agree on what my colleagues are saying. We seem to have not used this money, but the people needed it. And the reason why it shows that the people needed it, because you even had about 50 projects, and most of them actually, those are the ones that have not been implemented, and you have taken them over to 2023. And now you have told us that you have got the completion certificates. I want just to find out actually, the boreholes, the 10 boreholes were all completed. And if they were completed, I see a picture here which has got a white lady who is also, I don't know whether she came to witness project number 15, I think. She came to witness the handover, or these projects were done by this, maybe she was a donor. I don't know, maybe if you can just, how do we marry it to the completion? This is appendix 12. Appendix 12, I think there is a borehole, there are boreholes, but now there's one which I wanted maybe the CS to explain. This one here, which has got a lot of balloons. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
So there's a concern there, like I indicated, that we had boreholes appearing the same people but in two different places. Now we have that lady at a CDF. Is she maybe a member of the CDF committee?
Chairperson, she's a chairperson of the CDF committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe you can answer the other ones on the CDF, I mean the loans. Of course, we noted that there was also an interest which was accrued, but very little, of course, about 14,000 if not so. I wanted to find out on the other one, 126,000. Why was it not given out?
Thank you, Chair. Let me allow the planner to provide clarity.
Thank you, Chair. The money that was not allocated was because no one applied for, everyone applied for higher amounts. And when the bank made their recommendations, among those that were recommended, no one could fit in the money that was left. Everyone applied for higher amounts.
Very last question. Honorable Mwene.
Thank you so much, Chair. Chair, as I indicated earlier, I think I'm quite disappointed. CSA, can you confirm from your regrets that you are regretting that you failed to implement on time, you are regretting that you couldn't spend the funds on time. You have mentioned also that it has been a lapse on your side and so on. Can you confirm to this committee that CS, you don't have a competent team that is eager to implement CDF projects on time? I submit, sir.
CS.
Chair, the
Director, you may switch off your mic. Thank you.
Chair, the team that I have at the council, Chair, I would say in terms of competences and qualifications, Chair, they are qualified people. Of course, like we've mentioned, we've had these challenges that we are having along the way, which we trying to overcome.
Yes, Chair, I thank you.
Let him respond. Let him respond. Your members want to see your confidence. It's like you are, you know, your voice has just gone too low. Are you not sure of your team?
I apologize, Chairperson, that my voice went down. Chairperson, like I had mentioned, that the team that I have are competent people, they are qualified people as employed by the Local Government Service Commission. Of course, Chair, like I had mentioned, that we have hiccups here and there, but we're trying to build a team so that we are able to deliver and ensure that we deliver to the expectations of the people. I submit, Chairperson.
CS, my last question. From this conversation, which areas are you assuring this committee that you are going to improve on? Just from the conversation.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think from the conversation, what I pick is that we needed to make improvements in terms of the speed at which we implement projects, so that at the end of the day we are able to give the services to the people. It's about project implementation and the time that we are spending in completing the projects. I submit, Chairperson.
Mkushi Town Council, thank you very much for making your appearance. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want to state that this committee is not pleased. I deliberately asked that question so that you see yourself, your own inadequacies. And it is good that you have mentioned them. We cannot be keeping money and the people of Mkushi are not receiving goods and services. I don't think it's the right way of managing our affairs. This CDF was increased to ensure that the speed of sorting out many challenges that the Zambian people are facing is also enhanced. But we have this enhanced CDF, but we still move at a very slow speed. It will not help us. Like I've indicated at one point that you were not employed for the sole purposes of your own livelihood. You have a task to ensure that you deliver goods and services to the people within your jurisdiction. And if those people do not receive the goods and services, it means then you've become irrelevant. And once you become irrelevant, it means now you reach a departure point. You reach to a departure point. So please, as we go back to Mukushi, the first thing I expect you is to go and assemble your team and look at the concerns from this committee. How do you address them speedily? And then give yourselves timeline. I could see that here you argued against your own submission. 50 projects uncompleted. Then we start receiving completion certificates. So please let us ensure that we do the work. We don't have time. All of these members of parliament, for your own information, none of them is nominated. They come from various local authorities elected. And there is no single MP who doesn't want to deliver. And you know that it's only time. And we shall not sit here going around and you think your members of parliament will leave you. No. Having said that, allow me now to withdraw the immunity that was given unto you, so that as you step out of this room, if you decide to say anything outside this room, you may not use the immunity that you were given. So, henceforth, the immunities have been withdrawn. Thank you so much for coming and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, Honorable Members of Parliament.
You may take leave.
There is no other way of the forces of patriotism succeeding in society without those in the leadership living in such a way as to be patriotic themselves. If leaders are not patriotic, nobody else will learn how to do good things towards fellow human beings. If you're not a patriot, if you don't develop the spirit of patriotism in life, then you are destroying the nation as a whole. So patriotism really is a force that brings out success in any situation. Patriotism is very key in terms of human beings living together, human beings working together, human beings developing things together. Without that spirit of patriotism, we can't go very far. Each tribe wants to live on its own. want to be on its own. They don't look to others as also fellow human beings, God's children at all. They get divided, they begin fighting, they begin destroying each other across tribes. So it is a very dangerous group of human beings on earth, not only in Zambia, all over the world, where people are divided according to tribes. We saw that if we did not bring up the importance of our nation, we'll be a divided people. A divided people meaning we cannot live together. We'll be fighting each other across tribes. To destroy that, we say we build this one Zambia, one nation approach, looking at tribes not as a way of life, but nation as a way of life. So we're going to one Zambia, one nation. One Zambia, one nation. One Zambia, one nation. We've built up in a very strong way. So today, those 73 tribes of Zambia are very united. Very united. Yes, there will be some people who are still weak in looking at tribes as their way of life. All of us as tribes got to come together to build one Zambia, one nation. We all were saying same thing. Zambia must be free. Who is going to free Zambia? We ourselves. How do we free Zambia? It's by coming together. So I was happy to have young men from different tribes. We all came together and we stood together. We're going to prison together. Families behind. And we stood together in prison, we stood together outside. It is a wonderful thing. We succeeded, thank God, our Creator. Unity in Zambia, extremely important. So we're saying continue, continue.